Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FOB Equestria podcast, the official podcast of FOB Equestria, home of the military bronies. This week we have quite the cast. I'm your regular host, Spangle, and we have with us Michelle. Say hi.
Hello.
We have Josh, a.k.a. Firebrand. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
We have Scarlett, who just turned 21 today upon this recording. Happy birthday, Scarlett.
Yay! All your alcohol belongs to me now.
Oh, so
Happy birthday, Scarlett.
Thank you.
And then we have the head of the FOB here as well, Silvermane, who is breathing on his mic a little. Please fix that, good sir, and say hello.
Why am I here again?
Because you joined the call. That's the only reason
right.
I have.
You are our Obi-Wan.
Because you went to be with me for my
Fine.
birthday.
Well, that's the introduction, so I'll turn it back over to our wonderful host, Spangalicious. Take it away.
I love that name. I'm gonna start calling him that now.
Spangalicious. I'm the S to the P to the ANGLE, and no one else does this podcast like me. I'm Spangalicious.
Oh my God!
Nice.
Let me animate that, please.
I'm the F to the IRE, BRAND, and ain't nobody can do an analysis like me. I'm Firebrandlicious.
Wow.
Oh man! So this podcast is off to a rockin' start. First on the list of discussions, so there might be some questions about the recent video. I just want to put some clarification out here that was uploaded to our channel that was a little over the top, tacky, some have called it.
A little too mainstream because we're hipster.
The whole little clip from Rarity Investigates, which was done by me. Let's get that clarification out there because this is some of the issues that came up with it, and it is currently unlisted until said issues can be corrected. But it was the Rarity Investigates scene with Wind Rider where Rainbow Dash introduces him to Rarity, and as you can guess, John Cena meme then progresses. It has been unlisted because...
You spoiled it, thanks.
Well... Here's the thing. It's been unlisted because that brought some unfounded flack Josh's way, and that was completely unintentional on my part, and it is my bad. But simply because the perception out there that a lot of people have, which is most of the content put out on this channel, is Josh's.
It is not my channel. It is not my sole channel, guys. I know you guys think that, but hey, it's not just my channel.
There's more of us than just Josh.
I think that's kind of key to make note. And
Well, and we are slowly, I think, correcting that, and that'll come up in the conceivably questionable comments section, which is what I'm calling it now, just because CQC is also another acronym, and I love messing with acronyms and people, but that is another... That's what I'm going to call that. Last week I called it Comments Corner just as a placeholder, and we'll see if I stick with this name right now. But that'll come up again on that. However, it was just meant to be a random, silly thing. Like, I just thought of it during the video, and at the end of it, I also do, like, a Shrek reference with Smash Mouth's All-Star. And it was just me being silly and random and spontaneous. And we are going to probably make that into a regular series whenever I kind of get the inspiration... I guess, the random inkling to be silly and stupid. So
when the inspiration manifests, he will do something.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Inspiration manifestation?
You got the joke! Yay!
I'm a smart
one thing I want to bring up real quick, though, and just because this is kind of on topic, is I am still kind of waiting. I would like the listeners' opinions on this. I've been waiting for this for a bit. Is some ideas for a Games Bronies Play series.
There have been a few emails on that. There's been a couple emails on that.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I was planning on sending them your way as soon as we got someone else dedicated to managing email, but right now I've just been checking it up. But there have been a couple submissions.
Thank you for letting me know that in the middle of a podcast. But thank you for letting me know nonetheless. I've been waiting for a little, guys, and I read the comment sections quite a lot. So if you want to post them in the comment section, please feel free.
Direct message or email work as well.
Guys.
Or
So-
you can send it to the Facebook.
That too. There's
Yes,
many
that too.
ways. So I will say this much. There will be an introduction from now on whenever I have that spontaneous urge to just upload something random to our channel. That way it will be clear it is my video and not Josh's. So if you see that and you don't like the video, give me the flack. Don't hassle Josh. Don't harass Josh over something that was clearly not his fault and he did not do. So certainly want to direct the discontent where it is due.
And the positivity his way, because yes, I did eventually I figured out the Smash Mouth joke and I did laugh.
So a little bit of irony on this. When the video was unlisted, and last time I checked up on it, it had 666 views, 66 likes, and 6 dislikes. And I was just like, wow.
Oh!
I even took a screenshot of it. I should probably upload that to our Facebook. But
You should probably
Spangle confirmed for Satan.
at least that video series.
Josh, you stole my joke. I was getting ready to say.
I ain't scared.
Wait, well, Spangle's name does start with an S, so.
Wait, what? Oh, okay.
He could
I get
also
what you're
be.
talking about.
He could also be. I mean, Santa Claus, because that's what
Santa
it is.
Claus. I do want to say so.
There's a reason Santa is red.
Maybe he stole the element of magic right now, and and because we can't really see him right now, maybe he's wearing it. And he turns into Spangle Satan like Sunset Shimmer did.
Wow. Possibly.
Spangle
You can
Satan
never know.
confirmed.
Someone get that fan art. Someone draw fan art of that.
Oh, I will make
Jeez.
said fan art happen.
Scarlet can for sure, and it's probably going to be a thing. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer out for this random series. It will be a thing. It's just uploaded. It won't be a regular thing. It'll be, again, as I said, as inspiration strikes. And as with this, if you've noticed with some of the John Cena memes and a lot of like MLG memes in general, there is a lot of what is termed ear rape, which is basically where they just blow out the audio, blow out your speakers sort of thing. I won't do that, first of all, because it makes me cringe every time, because it makes me feel just so terrible for my speakers. And two, I don't want to damage people's hearing. Like, I'm going to do this, but in good sort of character, I guess, is the wording I would use. I'm not going to blow out your speakers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your usage of ear rape has triggered me.
trigger.
Oh,
Oh, so do we need to call Tumblr?
Yes.
But anyway, with regards to that specific video, once I get the introduction in place to clearly specify what video series it's a part of, just so people won't continue to confuse it for one of Josh's videos, and make possibly some other minor edits, it will be re-uploaded to our channel. And like I said, more to follow. But it does...
Yeah.
I was going to say, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, well, it's on the topic of trigger warnings. It's honestly, I do actually have a bit of a I actually do have an emotional trigger. It's kind of silly, and I don't blame anyone if they do it, but it actually happened in high school. If you guys will permit me to tell the story.
Is it
for it.
back
Go
in
ahead.
Columbia?
Okay, well, in high school we were doing it was biology class, and we were dissecting things. We're dissecting a starfish. Okay, that was good. Dissecting a frog. Okay, dissecting a fish. Dissecting all these things, and then we were told to dissect rats. And if people know that I've had pet rats for a long time, ever since I was like 5. So when I saw those freeze-dried rats in packaging, I kind of broke.
I
That's
have
a-
a
I
story
don't
like
think
that
that's a
too.
trigger. I think that's just sad because to you, I mean, that's kind of like if you had to dissect a cat for the average American family. To you, they're pets, they're family members, and you don't want to do that.
I was actually getting ready to say something about that. When I was in high school, my sophomore year, the junior class that year that was in the class had to dissect cats. And one of the cats happened to be pregnant. And so one of the girls who I'm actually friends with decided to keep the cat in a jar filled with embalmment stuff. So yeah, I know Josh's pain on that.
It's speaking of. I mean, here's the thing: triggers. And you can feel free to disagree with me on this one, free country and all that good stuff, but they are certainly things people need to be aware of your own, just so you can better protect yourself and like understand yourself and grow yourself emotionally, mature, and all that. And
That being said, if don't yell at people who don't tag pineapples.
yeah, Josh hit that right on the head for me.
That's to me in this the kind of portion of social justice, because I consider myself, pro equality and things like that. Wow, that lends credit.
Social justice warrior.
Equality and things like that, but for me, it's like I do not subscribe to the idea that everything is potentially a trigger.
Right.
Things like gore, to me, that is triggering. Blood could be triggering, but I'm sorry. Forgive me if I don't, tag genes as triggering because you had, a very negative experience with genes. Or
check your privilege, says that scum.
Or something that is not considered to be grotesque. It's
I understand.
There's a certain level that you can, and I don't want to say cater, but it's the best word that I can think at the moment. You can cater to other people and be sensitive to their emotions, but there is a limitation to that, to where it's just really unreasonable to expect everyone to have to, like I said, like a better word, cater to your emotions.
Yeah,
I'm not going
agreed.
to label a drink like alcohol as triggering because your abusive father was an alcoholic. I'm sorry, I'm not, because alcohol is not triggering. Violence is triggering.
Well,
Yeah, and
go ahead.
yeah,
Josh.
I also want to expand upon my quote unquote trigger. It's I tried to get through the dissection. I didn't try to get through the dissection. It's as soon as he the freeze dried rats out, I started tearing up. I went to the bathroom, tried to wash my face out, just like trying to psych myself up. It's like, come on, you can do this. They're not your rats. You can do this. And then I go back in, see the rats again, and I start crying. And then the teacher actually comes out. He's like, are you okay, Josh? And then I explained to him how I had pet rats, and he just looked horrified. He's like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. If I had known, I am so sorry. I would have excused you immediately.
Was this in the States or Africa?
Yeah, it was in Africa. And and so after that happened, I was excused from the dissection. I still had to do some makeup work that was the equivalent of it, but yeah. But they made sure that I didn't see anything that even looked close to a dead rat. It's like they were actually very, very accommodating. It's as long as you don't make such a big deal out of it, people will treat you nicely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And
Like,
there's
the same thing.
okay. Go ahead, Scarlett. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, when it came time for me to dissect something, we had to dissect little piglets. I was like, oh my god, no.
Oh, fetal pig! I remember that. Did that in college. It was kind of gross, but it didn't make me cry.
Yeah, well, my teacher was kind of a dick, Miss Hawkins.
Ooh.
It's okay. But anyway, she if we wanted to not do the dissection, literally we had a packet that was 200 questions long. So I'm like, okay, just be a big girl, and just do it. So I just like, you know what? I'm gonna write down y'all's data, because we had to do it in groups.
Right.
That way I don't have to get my hands dirty.
So I guess on the subject of triggers, that's a pretty good transition segue into the subject we talked on a bit last week, but we didn't really go into, which was the Orchard Blossom, Brotherhooves Social. And apparently there's a bit of controversy that has erupted over that. And
Tootsie.
This is Doubtfire.
it's kind of questionable whether or not the controversy is warranted. So, who wants to start off on this?
Peter New actually wrote a reply to that. I don't
He
know
did.
how many people saw it. Yeah, and it was
Yeah,
very
I saw it too, and I know he has the best of intentions, but one part of it actually got me a little iffy. Let's see if I can find it.
Anyway, Silver, continue while Josh looks that up. If you had any more to say on it.
That's all I had. Sorry.
Oh, no, it just sounded like you got interrupted. That's all. I want to give you your
No.
So, anyway, correct me if I'm wrong on my understanding of this, but there is some perception, and kind of which is the basis of this controversy, that the episode was a bit transphobic and sort of insensitive to that part of the kind of gender equality community. Am I right in my understanding of this?
Yes.
Okay, so at least I'm not mistaken there. And
Right. I want to talk.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
yeah, say your piece.
so my bit on that, and I'm going to try to keep this like as short as possible. It has absolutely nothing to do with being trans. If you see this as being trans, you clearly do not understand LGBT culture, and I will call you on this any day. It's called being dressed in drag. People dress in drag. Many of them, some who I know personally, are not trans. They're not even gay. It is purely, for most, recreation. It is fun. And for this, and I personally do have to agree with Peter New on most of it, it's
going too far?
It has nothing to do with trans culture. It has to do with being a good family member and trying to do everything you can to make them happy. He wasn't impersonating anyone. He was not appropriating trans culture or anything like that. He was trying to be a good brother by making his little sister happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And here's the thing that Peter New posted that I kind of feel a little iffy on. It's like anyone who laughs at a stallion wearing frills is behind the times. I'm not sure I agree with that. So we're not allowed to laugh at men in drag anymore? Should we let all of Britain know that what they're doing is anti-progressive? Because people in drag, both in comedy and even more serious work.
Yeah.
I guess maybe what he was talking about was in like a negative point, perhaps.
Kind of like
trying to understand his point. I mean, you can laugh at it in kind of like a funny way, but I would imagine what he was trying to get at was laugh at them in like a haha, you're gay kind of thing, instead of a haha, you are awesome.
Or a haha, you kind of look funny.
I kind of laughed at it because because of the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the contrast. It's like Big Mac is this stoic big man, and the cultural thing is that those kinds of people don't usually wear it. It's playing with expectations.
Yep, it is. It's like you said, the contrast and the context too. And it's like Michelle was pointing out, there is a pretty big difference between laughing at someone because you kind of get a kick because it's not what you expected, it's different, and it's just kind of playing on how your mind processes, humor, which a lot of the times things that get us to laugh are things we don't expect, something that is contrary to our expectations. Whereas laughing at them in a kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling.
Blackface.
Well,
that is bad. Like that. Laughing at blackface is bad. I'm guessing that's kind of what you're getting at. Like laughing at somebody because you're insulting a culture of people.
Yeah, just laughing them at, in a mean sort of kind of down-putting, kind of negative sort of way, like you were saying. So there is a difference. And it's very important to note. And
and I also want to agree. It's like like those Japanese stereotypes from like old Disney cartoons.
Yeah,
it's like when I was in high school, I kind of laughed at the audacity. I'm like, Disney seriously did that? Disney seriously did that?
Oh yeah, and honestly, and one thing you could probably see just to kind of see like the counterpoint, the other side of the coin is during World War II, Japan actually put out some satirical, or I guess racist, quote unquote, cartoons against Americans, and they actually used Mickey Mouse as the antagonist, basically showing that, you know, the evil Mickey Mouse is trying to invade Japan, and good patriotic Japanese children need to come to the day and, you know, or come and save the day from evil capitalist Mickey Mouse.
Well, yeah, that doesn't vindicate what Disney did at the time, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes it's easier to see the point if you're looking at it from the other side of the coin.
Yeah, and also wow, Mickey Mouse is the antagonist. something insert Kingdom Hearts joke here.
Oh.
Wow. Well played, Josh. Well played. And
Nerd.
so I will say, on the kind of the subject, there is a lot of humor out there that you'll see day to day on a lot of social media, on a lot of YouTube videos, where people will portray stereotypes for one thing or another. And not because they're trying to proliferate that stereotype, just because of, in their minds and in the minds of a lot of their audience that may or may not be laughing at it, of how ridiculous it is. Like, they don't believe these stereotypes to be true. They just find it the extreme kind of audacity, like you were talking about, Josh, to be funny. So what do you think about that sort of subject?
Well, I like to take the Brad Stein approach to humor. It's like, here's a quote by him, and he's one of my heroes, so I've memorized a lot of quotes by him. It's like, I'm not here, my friends, to hurt anybody's feelings. But here's the thing. Do you want to know if the way you can tell if you have a mature character is if you are unable to laugh at yourself. If you are unable to laugh at yourself, that is immaturity. And if you cannot see the difference between someone finding humor and the differences and someone being ethnically insensitive, put a helmet on.
Wonderful, wonderful quote.
I think it has a lot of merit, for sure. So, anyway.
Brad Stein's a huge hero of mine. Another one of my favorite quotes of his. It's like, if I have any legacy, I want to see political correctness die in my lifetime. But first, I want to see it suffer.
Yeah, I think we all want to see political correctness die, and the overzealous social justice warriors kind of cool their jets a bit. And like, in this case, with this Orchard Blossom controversy, which really isn't a controversy that has no real founding. I think we're all on the same page here on this one. And
yeah, it's like, Brad Stein's like he's like a Christian clean George.
Wow.
All I have to say is they need to freaking calm their tits and go watch some Kinky Boots, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Tootsie if they're going to say that this is a problem. Because seriously, just go watch those.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that this episode wasn't about that at all, like Michelle was pointing out. It's more about kind of what someone will do, the extent someone will go to, even if it's something that is so far out of their normal behavior and kind of comfort zone, to support and be with and kind of help a family member. And we lost Silver there for a second. Hopefully he joins us again. But I am not sure. Didn't this happen last time we had Silvermane on a podcast?
Yeah, it happened a couple of times.
Yeah, it seems like his internet is a little less than reliable. So we'll see if he rejoins us. Hopefully he can. But
It's Oklahoma.
If you guys have anything else to say, I mean, now's your time on this subject, or we can move on to the next one. What do you guys think?
Next.
Yeah, I think we beat the horse dead.
Okay, so
it's funny because ponies.
Oh,
yeah.
so full of jokes today.
Anyway, speaking of ponies, the FOB Equestria OCs, these ship Saturdays, is still certainly a thing going on. The reason I thought of this was because we were talking about ponies in the whole drag situation, and it reminded me a little bit of one of our ships from, what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, with Josh's OC being dressed up as Princess Zelda, and Inkrose's OC being dressed up as...
Oh, that was at the beginning of the month!
Okay, so that... When you say... So, yeah, 2 weeks ago then, because it's been pretty much 2 weeks at this point in time.
Yeah, a week.
Well,
Somewhat.
it is currently the 13th of October. Hello, Silver. Thank you for rejoining us.
I have a really sketchy connection at night. They drop the bandwidth at certain times of the night, and it usually kicks me off for a few minutes.
Yeah,
So it
no.
might happen again. Hopefully not.
No, that's completely understandable. But, and our most recent Ship Saturday, well, it wasn't really, what was that posted as, Scarlett? The whole Power Rangers outfit one. Was that part of the Ship Saturday, or was that just something independent? Because I don't...
That's part of the ships.
Okay.
It's a three-way.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
A friendship.
A friendship, quote unquote. Such good friends to.
Hey, we are clearly not being relationshiped in that picture.
So, first of all,
Really?
I just want to state out, first and foremost, that these ships are in good fun. They are not official. Like Josh and Ink Rose, they are not in a relationship outside of the FOB.
Like Michelle and Scarlett.
Well, but you two
Yeah.
are actually. I mean, you two are dating, so.
He said besides that one,
Oh,
everything
okay.
else isn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Oh, yes. So, but a lot of these ships are not official. Like one of our ship Saturdays had my OC and Silvermane's OC. And, I mean, that's clearly not...
What?
Yeah, you didn't catch that one, did you, Silver?
People ship me with anything. I don't care.
It was adorable.
It was a good
Oh,
one.
you should.
I
Silver should
missed
see
it.
the one. I
Adorable.
can't wait till you guys see next week's and the last one in 2 weeks. They are for. I think everyone's gonna enjoy
Phenomenal.
next week.
Right. Okay.
I'm gonna have to like hide in a bunker for next week's.
Now I'm excited. But can I just
They
take the
are
time?
phenomenally good.
Okay, so I am excited.
Yes.
But I want to take the time
I
to
can
notice,
just show you
to take
I can
note.
just show you later, Spangle.
Oh, that's true. But I want to take time to take note of a growing trend of my OC's coat getting darker and darker and darker until this
No.
last Power Ranger one. It was legitimately, his coat was black. And it's a dark blue, don't get me wrong, a bit darker than Luna's blue, but it is not black. So it's just funny for me to see over time how his coat color has gotten darker, and now in that Power Ranger one, it was completely black.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like what happens, people. Part of it comes down to differences in screens. Brightness and contrast on each individual person's screen, and how different colors show up on their computer monitors and all that fun stuff. But at the same time, it is a little bit amusing. I don't take myself too seriously, so I don't get butthurt about it so much as certain other people might when their OCs aren't portrayed the way they want them portrayed. Rah rah. And I'm not trying to throw any
Really?
stones. But I'm just saying, I'm on the pony tumblers a bit, and sometimes I see certain artists get a little bit butthurt in the way their OCs are portrayed, like if it's not done just right.
Well, I started telling the artists who I bring on that
Look,
your coat
if
is
you-
more of a navy blue.
Yeah.
If you want to see the quintessential pony that is never done right, look at Event Horizon and how many times his hair changes between every Tumblr post and every Facebook post.
Yeah. So, it's just part of what happens when you have different artists and they notice different things and they interpret things differently. And it's really nothing that you should get too worked up about. I can understand having a little bit of a negative emotional reaction when it's not portrayed the way you intended it to be, but at the same time getting super upset and butthurt about it. Maybe you should check priorities a little bit. It shouldn't be something that you're up in arms and posting hate mail at other people for. So yeah, so Ship Saturdays. I got a little off track. Scarlett, I know you were talking to me about this, about the possibility of holiday-themed ships, especially as December is starting to creep up on us. Is there any news on that front that you want to share?
Yeah, well, basically all of October is basically costume themed. December is going to be all Christmas themed, wintry kind of theme stuff. And then for February, it's going to be a little bit themed, just for a couple of pictures.
Well, I would imagine for Valentine's, right? Or
Yeah, for Valentine's.
Hearts and
We also have
Hooves.
Groundhog Day. Hearts and Hooves and Princess Day.
Princess Day? Princess Day?
President's Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, President's Day.
Okay, I'm getting...
Y'all didn't know about that?
I'm getting the parallel now. Yeah, I'm tracking. Because...
But
there-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
just like, depending on what holiday it is, there will be some holiday pictures mixed in there.
and to reiterate, the Ship Saturdays, these artworks that are getting published are on the FOB Equestria Facebook page. That link is always in the description of our podcasts and other videos. So definitely go check it out if it's something you want to see. But going
And please
forward...
give our artists some love.
Oh yeah, the DeviantArt links are always there on those posts. So if you like what you see, definitely go check out their other works for sure. But moving on to conceivably questionable comments. First one that I noticed was, when we talked about this a little bit, was so Josh isn't the only one on this channel. And to reiterate, these comments are taken from the previous podcast. And I think we've established that pretty clearly, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just a reminder, no, he is not the
But I'm just gonna kind of interject partially with
Absolutely.
the fact that Josh is primarily kind of almost the only one to post on the channel with any kind of recognizable persona.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it difficult for people who don't regularly listen to the podcast to discern that. And I will give that to the listeners. They're not stupid, but at the same time, their lives don't revolve around FOB Equestria. And if it's not kind of plain and obvious that everyone contributes, then they're not going to know that.
Yeah.
No,
which-
because most of them revolve around Josh. Hee hee.
because of the taking ponies too seriously series, for sure. And
Yes,
we have-
and also including the React videos. If I'm correct, only 2 of us have been in every React video, and that is myself and Firebrand. So I think, from that, you can't really derive that he's not the only one because he's in every single one of them. Again.
Yeah, I mean, you do have the exceptions with things like the interviews, which you
Yes.
have other people like myself, like Saunter, like Tweak, doing those sort of interview videos. And you also have these podcasts, like you said, but not a lot of people are regular goers to the podcasts. I mean, on the good ones, we'll get couple thousand views on a podcast, whereas, there's close to 40,000 subscribers to the channel. And so obviously not a lot of attention gets drawn here, but enough. I mean, it's worthwhile doing. And not to mention it's fun. It's good to get us all together and just talking and kind of visiting with each other. Encourages
And
community.
shenanigans.
And shenanigans, for sure. But, yeah, I think for sure when we do take those steps out in projects that Josh has no part in, like I said earlier with my kind of random videos that I'm going to be uploading in their own little mini-series as they happen, probably good if we really brand those as our, as whoever is taking care of it, just so there is no confusion and that credit or positive or negative perception is directed towards someone who had no kind of say in it. So definitely something to consider. But then the other one was a comment about something we brought up in a previous video.
Had a slight technical hiccup.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on now? Hello? Hello? Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is.
Okay, there we go. So,
Never mind, not going to go get him.
yeah. Apparently just slight technical difficulties. I have no idea what happened there. It looks like I just lost internet connection for a second.
You froze for a moment and then just died.
Yeah.
He frozen died.
Anyway, next comment that caught my attention was something we talked about in a previous podcast, which was Military Baronis React to Friendship Games. Apparently, someone was very enthusiastic about that and said, hold on, they didn't use proper English, as is so many times on the internet, so I thought I had an understanding of it. They are very enthusiastic about it. To quote them, that would be fucking amazing. But they said that they don't typically watch those, but they think that watching us react to it could make it enjoyable for them. So, to put this in perspective, we talked about it as a possibility when we were discussing kind of how reacts are done for the FOB. And to reiterate, reacts are kind of a fluid thing within the FOB here. And currently, back then and still at this moment, there are no reacts in really the works. We just talked about it, how we kind of mull ideas over and then they might become a thing. So it still hasn't been decided yet whether or not friendship games will be done, but if it is, there you will see it on our channel. The next react, if you want to see any reacts we put out, just subscribe to our channel, stay tuned, and they will come when they come, but I can't make any promises on that front because of the kind of fluid nature of the FOB and reacts in general. So go ahead, Michelle.
It largely reacts, and this is not reacts. I'm sorry, relies, and this has kind of come up like a few times in the past where we've had ideas for reacts, and then we just don't have enough FOBits who have good enough content to contribute to the react. I think there was one react in specific, and I'm not going to name anything, but I think there was one where we had we needed one more person, and it's just nobody could really come up with enough good content to contribute to the react, and we'd rather not put out anything than put out something that we don't think is good enough.
Agreed. I think that's a very good point. And when it came to the friendship games discussion, because it was something that was put on the table, I'm not naming names or trying to call anyone out. I did toss the idea around to a few people and try to figure out who would do editing and all that stuff. And as far as it stands right now, we've gotten back no definitive answers. So it is still very much a slight possibility at best. So, and we don't want to try and give people unrealistic expectations here. So, like I said earlier, can't really make any promises. But any other thoughts on that whole deal, or do we want to move right into the discussion about Crusaders of the Lost Mark, the most recent episode?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Silver has
Let's move on.
All right, so we will go right into that. Before we do, though, I do just want to put a spoilers warning out there. Pretty much the rest of this video will be discussing that topic. So if you haven't seen that episode yet and you don't want to have any sort of spoilers come your way, certainly pause the video and come back to this when you have, if you are interested in the discussion. Otherwise, just stop watching now, and thanks for tuning in. But getting right into it, who wants to start?
I will start.
Okay, go for it, Silver.
I was surprised, first of all, that it was a musical episode because they haven't done one since Magical Mystery Cure, and it was the second to the last Amy Keating Rogers one that we're getting, forever, I guess. So I knew Amy Keating Rogers wrote it. I wasn't expecting it to be a musical because they kept that pretty tightly under wraps this time. Discovery doesn't really advertise the shows like the Hub used to do, so they say new episode, but it just shows stock images from the season 5 opener. And so I came in there pretty blind on this one. I knew the name of it, but I thought it was going to be more of a conflict between Diamond Tiara and the Cutie Mark Crusaders. When they actually got their cutie marks, I was surprised, actually. And they crammed a whole bunch of content into 22 minutes. They had the best way to do that, of course, is with song.
Of course.
So they did. And at the end, when they finally mentioned something about Applejack, it blew me completely away. She said if Mom and Dad were here, they'd be so proud.
They're setting up for something with that. Big Jim Miller, the next day, somebody tweeted him, well, that answers that question. He wrote back, don't be too sure.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I want to kind of point at that wording and how they said if mom and dad were here. And honestly, I've kind of thrown out a lot of things in the past with My Little Pony about how they would do A or do B because that's what every show has always done and it's safe. And that is not what has been happening with My Little Pony.
No, I know it.
I called out from a lot of podcasts past that the Cutie Mark Crusaders will never, ever get their cutie marks because that is pretty much the only reason that they existed, and it creates more episodes, and it's easy. And getting that once they get their cutie marks, they have no.
Yeah, but
but that's the clever thing. They gave them cutie marks in a way that's able to give them more episodes.
Exactly. Also, that's the thing about looking for their cutie marks has been going on for 4 years now. They've really kind of run out of things to do with that. It was time for them to get them. I mean, there's only so much you can do over and over before people get bored. I mean, we didn't want an endless thing of Rainbow Dash trying to get in the Wonder Bowls or an endless arc of Rarity trying to get a booth encounter lot or the Cutie Mark Crusader doing shenanigans trying to get their cutie marks. I mean, it's been 5 years. It was time.
It's
and
about
like Josh
time.
said, they've got a cutie mark in helping other ponies, which there was several in the group shots that were blank flanks. Pipsqueak was one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So, it was time.
Probably the very next Cutie Mark Crusaders episode is going to be Pipsqueak getting his cutie mark.
Is kind of open because if you think about it, he's still really, really young. I don't know if
Or really, really small.
He's tiny.
You notice how big Snips is getting. He's almost as tall as Cherry Lee now.
Really?
Look at a couple of shots of him. He's huge.
Snips has a gigantic neck. He's like a giraffe.
He's a very lanky
That's
pony.
terrible.
He's a very lanky pony for sure.
Right, but I mean, like I said, it was time. People. I know a lot of bronies, and I'm one of them on certain things. Don't like change in the show, all the screaming, yelling when Twilight got her wings and this and that and the other. But really, I mean,
I still hate
if they kept on this with the Cutie Marks Crusader trying to get their mark, it would have just gotten stale. There's only so much you can do with a certain amount of material.
Yeah,
I kind of expected them to get them at different times, but they handled it really well. You know, props to Amy Keating Rogers for the way she handled it.
I was really surprised that they all got them in kind of like similar concepts, but it reassured me when they all had similar elements, but they were also all unique because it still it follows suit with this idea that every pony is unique and every pony is talented. And, there are ponies that will inevitably have similar talents. There isn't one baker for all of every pony in Equestria.
Yeah, and it was also nice and interesting that they showed that Diamond Tiara didn't really know what hers was for yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
She kind of did, but she didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, and, Scootaloo's is a lightning bolt with a wing on it, so that leaves open interpretation. That's another big thing in the show. Will Scootaloo ever fly?
Yeah?
She better.
Michelle wants it. Scootaloo is
I want it.
Better.
Okay, here's the thing. In this house, we are literally the CMC in this house.
Yep.
Angle is Sweetie Bells. Michelle is.
But you've noticed in season 5, they've been closing a lot of arcs. Rarity got her booth and counter lot. Rainbow Dash is basically, you can just basically say she's in the Wonder Bolts. CMC have their cutie marks. They kind of danced around Applejack. All we got left really is Fluttershy's parents and will Scootaloo fly, and does she have parents?
Yeah, that's pretty. Those are certainly topics open for discussion, and we'll see how those pan out. But it's like Michelle pointed out, there was a lot of kind of perception out there. You all right, Josh?
It's just something you said, Silverman. It's like all throughout season 5, there's been a whole lot of closing of arcs, and I'm just getting to thinking, okay, the season finale is going to be one heck of a bombshell because it's got to set up a lot of new arcs. Otherwise, it's going to go.
Good point.
San Diego Comic-Con. Trust me, you guys are in for a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I know basically what's going to happen, but I'm not going to talk about it because
Hey, I didn't say anything. I just said I've seen
Don't.
it. I didn't say what was in it.
So, I do just want to
Yeah,
say.
Oh, and that callback to T. I loved some of the continuity callbacks too, like the playground just got destroyed from the fight with T-Rex.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was really good the way they tied it in and had that continuity.
And then
Right.
the window pane from Discord.
It shows, they're standalone
Yeah.
episodes, but it shows that things do have consequences in future episodes, which was cool.
For sure. I think
thought
the
about
episode was done
T-Rex.
very well.
I think it really stands creative with the point, and this is very much a limiting factor that, if I'm correct, the writers have stated a few times, and that they would love to write serials, and they would love to write, well, I guess consecutive arcs is technically a serial, but they would love to write them. However, Hasbro refuses because kids usually don't watch episodes one after another, so it would be confusing for the kids to have to watch half of a serial and then not know what's going on for the next one. So Hasbro kind of requires them to keep most of every episode, the plot begins and ends in that episode.
But they're getting
Obviously,
clever about it.
Hasbro has never watched Power Rangers. Like, come on.
But it shows that there's a lot of talent in the writing staff, that they can kind of get around that.
Yep.
And tie in plot points from other episodes in a very subtle manner for the more mature audiences to still enjoy them.
Agreed. They're getting very clever about the way they're approaching it. Each episode stands alone. I mean, not all of them. You have some of the two-parters here and there. But
And we've had the cutie map's kind of an overarching deal at
Yep.
this season. The only two left are Fluttershy and Twilight, and I know they're getting theirs here in probably 2-3 weeks.
But they
There
are
is a
getting
Pinkie
very
Pie
clever about
episode
it.
coming up.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Hatfields and McColts, I think, are the ones they're going to be on.
I forgot
Which,
about Pinkie
if
Pie.
no one knows, is a play on the Hatfields and the McCoys.
I think most people know, or they should know.
I'm
We
pretty
know.
sure most people know.
Otherwise, they're
You'd
uneducated.
be surprised how many people don't know about them.
They're probably Southern.
Actually, they live out in Tennessee or Kentucky or West Virginia, something like that.
Well, here's a trivia deal for you guys. You know the Hatfield and McCoy feud actually went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
I did not
The
know that.
question was, can you cross state lines to grab somebody that's a fugitive and bring them across state lines to face trial?
Actually, I think I did hear about that because History
Yeah,
Channel.
that's pretty
I watched
cool.
a lot of History Channel growing up back when History Channel was good. So
My brother actually.
The History Channel definitely lost a lot of its awesomeness recently. I used to watch it every single day growing up, and now it's like
Well, H2 is still,
yeah.
Yeah.
and Nat Geo is good.
But
My brother used to repo bikes for a living, and he actually, I forget which family it was, he had to go repo one of the son's bikes, and one of the wives actually came out and almost shot my brother.
that's gonna happen. I mean, people be crazy.
that would have been very illegal.
Well,
That
yeah.
would have been a felony.
The families don't give a crap.
But anyway, we're getting a little off subject from the episode.
Ponies.
Prison.
But so anyway, first, I just want to say how epic was them getting their cutie marks. It was kind of like almost a friendship is magic, like rainbow power, like elements of harmony moment.
Right.
That was pretty
Well,
cool.
I was expecting, I was figuring maybe one, would have. But all three was, and it probably would have been Apple Bloom because he's kind of the leader, but all three like that, and the way they got it was,
It's called Apple Bloom. I
we
think.
saw the main six get theirs as Phillies, and they just kind of zapped and appeared, not this, they didn't get surrounded by a magical aura and all this.
Well, that's how they show a lot of people getting their cutie marks. Is it's just like shiny on flank and then appear, and it's nothing like grand or epic like you had the CMC going. But you have to also admit, theirs is a little unique in the fact that they got theirs together and theirs were linked, and it kind of demonstrates something which I think is important. And it seems like to me the CMC determined their own cutie mark, their own destiny. It wasn't something that was like predetermined. They decided more or less through their actions and what
And
they wanted to do.
They got it when they decided to quit trying to get it.
Yeah, so it was
They said, it was pretty cool.
No, I think it was very well done, and I think it was kind of cool the way they kind of indicated that cutie marks, like a pony more defines a cutie mark than a cutie mark defines a pony sometimes, like in the case of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. So I know a lot of people in the fandom were, every now and again you get those philosophical discussions about Equestria, taking ponies too seriously, but some people do get into the serious philosophical discussions about,
like me.
Yeah, about what do cutie marks actually mean? Like, how determinant are they for, like, determining who you are, your destiny? Is it something that you were always destined to get, or do you have a say in it? Like, and there's been some discussions and some fanfics written about, people getting cutie marks they didn't really want, and they kind of hate their cutie marks. And so it is a very interesting discussion.
I don't think I've ever seen a pony who hated their cutie mark in the show.
I said fanfics.
Yeah, fan fiction is not canon.
I know. I'm just saying, I'm talking about as far as community discussions go.
It's like Kyle Katarn in the Star Wars universe. Everyone wants to love it, but it's not canon.
According
Star
to
Wars
Disney.
fans, I know, I'm sorry. I feel just as bad as you do about that.
Hey, since Disney bought it, every single book they've written is no longer canon. I'm all upset
Kyle
about it.
Katarn is, okay, so just kind of, obviously not a spoiler. Kyle Katarn is kind of the coolest character from the expanded universe that everyone loved and is now not canon because Disney said it's not canon now. Kyle Katarn was awesome. Cooler than Luke ever was.
I remember putting out a tweet earlier this week about let's say a moment of silence for everyone's headcanons. Kalina.
Yeah, I think that's why some people were so upset about this episode, because it ruined so many headcanons about what their cutie marks would be.
I know it. Oh, but
I loved
awesome.
it.
I mean, she was working for Disney now. She went along. Rob Renzetti's there. Amy Keating Rogers is there. They need to quit stealing our talent.
Yeah,
I understand it's a steady job because.
Anyway,
some people don't know that those writers for the show are independent contractors. They're not working for DHX. They get hired to write the scripts, and that's kind of it. And now she's with Disney. It's a steady job, but Disney is kind of a grinder too. They chew people up and spit them out on a regular basis. So,
Can I just say I feel really bad for everything I've said about Diamond Tiara.
Oh, like, yeah, that was nice. I was so glad to give, again, it expanded on things rather than just having a villain for the sake of having a villain, like we saw with Sassy we saw it with Sassy Saddles first, and now we see it again with Diamond Tiara. Like, people are the way they are for a reason.
She wasn't really a villain, though, was she? Sassy
Saddles kind of was.
Like over-excited, maybe.
An antagonist, at the very least.
An antagonist. And that's the thing about Diamond Tiara. It's just that now that we have this explanation of her mother, it does kind of make sense. I mean, if you really look at her past behavior, a lot of it was just so she could win, just so she could beat. Yeah, if you really look at everything, she did do a lot of those things just so she could win, and she was very good at it.
Which, by the way, everyone's headcanon is broke with Diamond Tiara's mother since it's not Screwball.
Well, yeah.
I was not aware. But
so, but even that headcanon kind of didn't make sense because even though the headcanon was cute, it was cute, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah, because that would have meant Filthy Rich was married to, it was just dumb. I mean, it was funny, but dumb.
So the one, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting everyone, but
go for it.
The thing that I want to know now is, and this is kind of more from a high level perspective, is how is it that the writers kind of get so much, I want to say consistent seems to complement and support everyone else's writing. So it's like never do you really see each other or each writer kind of contradict each other. It's kind of like with this revelation, you're like, it all makes sense now. And kind of like,
How? How?
Well, I mean, there's been some instances where they've written a character a little strange. I mean, on Philly Vanilli, the way they wrote Pinky in that one was a little annoying to me. He was just totally a jerk, really. But yeah, I don't know if they have a big conference or what they do, but even the new writers this season have done a pretty good job of integrating into their episodes into the season writers.
Yeah, that's kind of how hard it is being a new writer. It's like everyone's got to be on the same page.
Yeah, and
I know they get a Bible and they have to study it, but right.
Yeah,
and
so, but I will say this much. Oh, sorry, Silver. You cut out on me. I thought you were done talking.
Oh, no, I just said, and Dave Polsky seems to be grown quite a bit as a writer, too. He did a real good job with Brotherhooves Social.
That guy gets way too much flack. It kind of ticks me off.
More love, less hate.
Right.
It's like he always gets the episodes that it's like think about the episodes he got. He was told to get. He was supposed to get the first one, Feeling Pinky Keen. It's like, okay, he has to talk about like superstitions to kids. It's
yep.
What was he supposed to? It's like, come on. He did the best with what he's got, and I think he did a good job. Or Over a Barrel, the conflicts between settlers and natives. Yeah. It's like, I mean, think about it. He kind of...
Dyslexic much?
Dyslexic. I am very dyslexic. Anyways,
Dyslexia for everyone.
I mean, it was hard. It's like he gets a lot of really bad episodes. And Equestria Games. Oh, heavens, Equestria Games.
Wait,
oh, yeah. Yep.
I will stand by that episode being awesome.
Yeah, you're right. He's gotten a few rough ones for sure. And it's unfair to give him flack for having to cover such difficult topics. And like you said, and I would agree, he's done a pretty good job of doing so.
Right. And also, I have to say, Peter New does an amazing voice acting work in that show. I mean, yes, I saw him as Goldie Delicious. I was like, wow, he can do that. And then he did the whole thing, even sung in falsetto.
Yeah, that was...
That'd be hard.
Peter New, he not only is he a good voice actor, but I mean, just he's a great man. But it caught me off guard. It's the most dialogue Big Mac's had in a while, and it was done in a sort of unorthodox way.
Oh yeah, they've given him quite a bit of dialogue this season. They started, Philly Vanilli, he got some dialogue, and then what was that other one? The one with Apple Bloom had her nightmare. Do Princess Dream of? No, which one was that? She had her nightmare. Big Mac. Yeah, it's your cutie mark. He got a bit of dialogue in that one too. So he's been getting more than No and Yuck recently.
He had a bit in Apples to the Core or whatever.
Yep.
Well, sort of. I mean,
what was that episode?
The most dialogue he had before that was way back in apple bucking season.
Yeah.
Just one pony. Yeah. So I'm glad to see him getting more lines than Nope and Yup. That's funny, but how long can you go with that?
It's true. It's true. You got to flesh out your characters at some point, otherwise they just stay one-dimensional and uninteresting. For sure.
And the feels at the end when he said, I just wanted you to look up to me. I'm just a farm pony. I was like, oh my God, stop it.
Stop with my feels.
We've already me and Spiegel had enough feels from last night.
Oh yeah, we watched Inside Out. So much feels. But getting back on the topic of discussion of so many feels, which Crusaders of the Lost Mark, so many mixed emotions from so many different perspectives.
Right at the end. Rainbow and Scootaloo, Rainbow singing to Scootaloo. Oh my God!
I know. And then feels for Diamond Tiara. You felt sorry for her, but you were also upset with her for being a little punk here and there. And the episode caught me off guard.
Silver Spoon broke up. I was like, no, Silver Spoon grew a spine.
I know. Just so many different emotions from Crusaders of the Lost Mark. And I will say this much: the episode caught me off guard with a short song even before the introduction played. It started off with
start song.
And I was just and then it was one of the most musical episodes we've had in a while. For this in the show's history in general, just because it's like it couldn't go a minute of dialogue without like another song coming in, which I personally enjoyed.
Well, there is one other episode to compare it to, and it was the episode with
Magical
Cheese
Mystery
Sandwich.
Cure.
No, the one with Cheese Sandwich. So much music.
Oh yeah, yep. So it was a good episode, but Josh, I don't think you've been able to say your piece on it yet, have you?
I think I'm gonna save it.
You're gonna save it for.
Oh, he's gonna be all secretive now.
Yeah, for you're taking ponies too seriously, right? You want to keep the secret.
It's gold. It's not going to waste it here.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand, and I think that's completely reasonable. So, any other
Me too,
closing
because
thoughts
I'll watch it when it comes out.
before we start to wrap this thing up here? Because we're coming up on our time limit.
I am actually glad they released it when they did, because being the 5th birthday, it kind of reminds me that, you know, bronies are also trying to find their way in this life, being the fandom that we are.
And really, you know, parental pressure like that, really kind of a deep subject for a cartoon show to tackle.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, they gave a good, solid reason why Diamond Tiara was the way she was. You know, she was trying to do what her mom told her to do and didn't really know it was the wrong thing to do until it was pointed out by, you know, the CMC, and then she decided she wanted to be better, and she really didn't know how to do it yet. And you know, it was helpful along the way. And like that, it was a pretty deep episode. They kept it funny, humorous, and light, but it's still kind of a complex subject to broach in 22 minutes.
Agreed, for sure.
So here's a question I'd like to pose. Do you guys think that Applejack's parents will ever actually show up? Or do you think that they are either past or they are moved away not to come back?
They're dead.
I think they passed.
I think
pretty
I
sure
will.
I mean, there might be some in the works. Maybe they'll go back in time and make them alive again or something.
I don't know.
Do Ex Machina like that. But
I will concede.
now, if you ask me about Scootaloo's parents, I don't have a clue on that one.
Right. I will concede for Applejack's parents. There's been a lot of subtle hints in the show that they have passed. So,
Like the comets or the meteors.
Yep. So I would have to say my personal kind of headcanon on this one is that they are passed until I'm given evidence to the contrary.
Right. Now, like I said, if they are, I hope they don't do some kind of silly Deus Ex Machina at this season finale and go back in time and bling, they're alive again, woohoo, flowers and cake for everybody.
I guess I'm going to stand the minority in the room and say that I honestly do not think that they have passed. If I had to speculate in some way, I would say they are probably lost, but will show up sometime in the future of the show. I imagine giving it...
They're in the senior Huevos dimension.
No. What I mean is, I wouldn't be surprised if they were in, like, they went off adventuring somewhere and they just got lost.
Huh.
And one day they will show up and say, yeah, we got lost in the forest of something, all the way on the other side of Equestria where no one could find us, and we had to survive in the wilderness.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're getting signals from certain people that we kind of start to wrap this up, it looks like. So
Yes, for sure. Any final words before we close out and say our goodbyes?
I'm just going to say real quick that season 5 is one of the best seasons they've had so far.
I'd have to beg to differ. I love season 4.
Season 2, purest.
Well, we got nobody's going to speak up for season 3, huh? Okay.
I don't know if I can pick favorites right now. I kind of have enjoyed the ride as a whole, honestly. So
Me too.
It's hard for me to pick favorites, for sure. It's kind of like my position on what my favorite of the main 6 is. I really don't have a favorite at this point. It originally was Twilight Sparkle, but I've kind of learned to love each of them for who they are, and it's hard to distinguish who I like more.
No, that's because Twilight got her new boyfriend. You got kicked out. No waifu for you.
But any other closing...
Was Muna.
Any other closing thoughts before we wrap this up until next time?
That's all I have, Senor.
Diamond Tiara's mother is hilarious. Her design is God.
Oh,
She
yeah.
sounds like Miss Harshweenie.
Nose. That turns snooty nose. Yes, Monica,
Like Miss
Monica.
Harshweenie.
Ooh, poor people. Ooh.
Get away from those blank flanks.
Agreed.
That was so terrible.
She was very.
I'm making love to my own voice.
Oh,
You
my.
only own 3 Rolls Royces. Ooh.
I own 7.
So, if you want to see a topic discussed in next time's podcast, which will be a little bit delayed due to other life events, but it will be here nonetheless, leave a comment in the section of this video or send an email to our FOBEQuestria@gmail.com in the description below, or send us a personal message on Facebook. I mean, Facebook works, but I was going to say YouTube for sure. And we will certainly give it
podcast
consideration.
This coming weekend.
Huh?
I said no podcast this coming weekend.
Exactly, because I have guard duties and all that stuff. Like I said, life events.
Oh.
So, for sure, let us know, and just be warned that I do only check the comments of the most recent podcast before recording the next one. So if you want a topic suggestion to be seen, be sure that you are posting it in the most recent podcast. And yeah, that's all I have for that. Say your goodbyes, Michelle.
Goodbye, everyone.
Josh.
Goodbye.
Scarlet or Silver. Whoever is ready.
Goodbye, every pony. See you next time, whenever that might be.
And Scarlet.
Bye, everyone. Your alcohol will still be mine.
And happy birthday, Catherine.
Thank
Yay.
you, sweetie.
Yes, a final birthday wish for Scarlet here. And until next time, Semper Philly, everyone.
Semper Philly.